Good evening. I'm Theresa Curtis. I'm running for the Library Board of Trustees. And like my predecessors, I'd like to thank the Lions Club, the high school, and the Goffstown Public Library for all of their assistance with tonight. I want to share some of my qualifications to be a trustee. I've lived in town for almost 40 years. And one of my first stops when I moved here was to get library cards for me and my daughter, because libraries are an important resource for children, for adults, but for children especially as early learners and to help them build critical thinking skills. After that, I stepped up and I ran for the Library Board of Trustees and served 3 terms. That's 9 years. I served with fantastic people who were dedicated to the town and worked to ensure that the Goffstown Public Library continued to provide essential library services. Professionally, my background is as a librarian. I worked as a reference librarian for the New Hampshire State Library for over 15 years, and I led efforts to bring technology to all public libraries in the state. I worked with state and private partners, that's right, finding private money to bring and put library computers in all New Hampshire libraries. I developed and led training programs throughout the state to ensure librarians had the skills and the resources to lead the way in digital literacy. I then spent another 20 years working in the state's Department of Information Technology as the Director of Web Services and the Chief Technology Officer. I had an extremely large portfolio that included administration of the state's websites, management of IT, enterprise IT projects, digital transformation to either implement or improve how agencies interact with the public, management of all online payment solutions for state agencies, and IT security and compliance. And during those 20 years, I was also responsible for developing and implementing statewide policies and standards. As part of the team that managed the state's $100 million IT budgets, and I worked on complex contracts from initial RFP or request for proposal through the project completion. I understand how to work with multiple stakeholders who have different agendas. I understand budget complexities and how to work collaboratively to separate the needs from the wants to keep funding as lean as possible. And I understand how to implement policies that take into account a variety of different needs. Personally, I have a daughter that's a proud graduate of Goffstown school system. I volunteered as a Girl Scout leader as she was young. I was a volunteer EMT for the Goffstown Fire Department, and I served as a CASA. My late husband and I bought the house he grew up in, and when it was time to move from that house, my only requirement was that we remain in Goffstown. I love this town, and I love the Goffstown Public Library. I hope that you'll both vote for me on March 11th. Thank you very much.